What is going on, everybody, to this celebration stream? 6 years. Can you believe it? 6 years of OG55. We're celebrating the channel, the friends we made along the way those past 6 years. We'll be taking your comments, your questions about the parks, Disney Plus, whatever you all want to talk about today. We're just going to have a good time with friends and have a ball. Up next, OG55 Live. Welcome back, everybody, to OG55 Live, where we're celebrating 6 years of the channel. We're celebrating the friendship. Back, everybody, to OG55 Live.
Hold on one sec.
All right, there we go. I'm getting a little feedback on my end.
If it's good once, it's best to have it twice.
That's right. There we go. But we're celebrating the channel. We're celebrating the friendships we made along the way. We'll talk Disney, the parks. If you want to talk about D+, any of it, it's kind of a wild card show in that regard. We're also at the tail end of the show doing that trivia for an OG55 shirt. Okay. And that is in celebration of this guy right here hitting 1,000 followers on Twitter.
Man, that is so well. Okay, all right. We'll do it. I have it. I guess I should use it for myself. No, honestly, it's thanks to you guys. Really, I mean, you guys did it. I mean, I just put it out there saying, hey, look, listen. I'd really like to get to this number. If we could get to this number, that'd be fantastic. And we enticed you a little bit in order to do that. But honestly, the support that you showed in order to achieve that goal, I mean, I am absolutely grateful. Honored and humble. This is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that, and consider this our thanks to you, honestly, for supporting us in a variety of ways, including following me on Twitter and subscribing to the channel and everything else.
100%. So before we dive into all the festivities and just talk and shop, let's go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. Right over here, the man who wears many, many hats, VashSky, producer Dre, Dr. Dre, host of Freshly Squeezed Show here on OG55. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, happy to be back. I just drove in from Palm Springs, not even a couple hours ago. So had that drive there, feeling pretty good. Going on very little sleep because. What is it? How many hours would that be? About 6 hours before that drive, I was in the park for a full day. So many thoughts on that, which hopefully we can go ahead and bring those to you in subsequent episodes and stuff like that. I mean, it's been kind of a crazy couple of days, as George and OG knows. So, but. Very much happy to be here. Like I said, thank you so much for getting me up to 1,000 followers. But if you haven't followed already, and if you'd like to go ahead and do so, you can go ahead and follow me at VashSky on Twitter. That's at V as in Victor, ASHSKY. Right there. You can go ahead and type that into the old Twitters. Should pop up there. And if you want to see me, well, it's going to be on the channel you're watching right now at Orange Grove 55 at Freshly Squeezed. Your source for juicy news and info squeezed fresh right from the Grove.
Pay attention, it's Joe time.
There you go. And it's gonna be interesting, OG55. Look, listen, we talk about the channel quite often, right? But a little bit later, we'll be putting everybody to the test, and how much they really know the channel should be a lot of fun.
And down below, we got the family man rocking the backwards hat today. Looks good on you, sir. Looks good on you. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. As Mr. VashSky had mentioned, I too have just gotten back a few days ago, trying to readjust because I'm from the East Coast. So that 3-hour difference definitely makes a difference. But I was on location at Disneyland with the D23 Expo, got to experience another fun-filled night of Oogie Boogie Bash, and definitely can't wait to dive into it all. And so OG got his gel back, so I thought I'd sport the backwards hat tonight. So, but
nice.
So anyway, if you want to find me on my YouTube channel, you can find me on Disney Family Man 23. You can interact with me on Twitter at Disney George. And of course, you'll find me here on OG55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, but yet juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, let's get this party started, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to all who come to this happy place,
welcome to Orange Grove 55.
And it wouldn't be a live show if we didn't have Bill O'Reilly.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
There we go. We have officially begun. We have a lot of people in the chat. We got our buddy Showcase of Wishes, Wildest Ride, Theme Park Casual, Matthew Murr, Kyle Boucher, Doc Hart. Doc Hart's in the chat. Haley, Lovelow, everyone's in the chat. This is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the channel a little bit before we dive into some of this Disney park stuff and all that. Crazy. 6 years ago, I was really inspired by the team over there at AMC. Well, it was AMC back then, and it turned into Collider with John Campia and Christian Harloff and all them. I was just really big on their content and their Star Wars content, especially like Collider Jedi Council. And I'm like, you know what? There really isn't a place that like park fans can go to have that kind of conversation about the parks. It's all about like this in-park vlogging and unboxing and all that, and which is fantastic. A lot of content creators out there do a phenomenal job with that, but there was never a place to really just sit down and dive deep into these things like Christian Harloff did with like Star Wars and film and TV. And that's what really inspired me to start this channel. When I started, I'm like, oh man, if I get 10 subscribers, I'll be happy. I mean, I'm just here to have fun. And here we are 6 years later, over 4,000. It's extremely humbling. We've made amazing friends along the way. Many of them in the chat right now. Showcase, Wildest, Casual, Crystal Ray, you fellas. I mean, we got extremely close over these past few years. You guys are my brothers, my best friends. It's been to put it in Disney parks terms, a wild ride for sure. Sure. So, but Vash, I mean, any thoughts overall on the channel and kind of like where we've been the past few years, how we got here? Anything on your mind with that?
Well, I remember you contacting me about the idea about doing a channel, 6 years ago, right about now. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I was like, oh man, that's great. That's fantastic. And, you were very adamant. It's like, hey, look, I'm going to release a video. I want you to go ahead and be honest and be critical of it. And that's kind of how, I kind of started being associated with the channel at all. But I was honestly pleased as punch that you would, take the leap into this realm for sure. Not for, anything that I could contribute to it, but just because I know you had a lot of thoughts that you wanted to get out there, and I thought the video format was going to be perfect for that. I mean, honestly, and to think that I would ever be a part of it at all, and especially to the degree that I am and George is, and the community that you've constructed around this whole thing. Really, honestly, it's been all you, brother. Doing this whole thing and the topics that we've covered together and stuff like that, and just the waves we've made on various areas of the internet, and like you said, the friends we've made along the way. I mean, it's just been phenomenal. It really has been just incredible where this thing has blossomed, what this thing has blossomed into. So to that, hey man, I'm just I'm just happy to be part of the ride. You're the driver, and it's been look, it's
scary. That's scary. I'm the driver. That's pretty scary, guys.
Well, look, listen. As long as we don't go, right to a courtroom and guilty, thank you, that is all. As long as that doesn't happen, I think we're gonna be okay. But who knows? Even if we do, I'll be there.
We'll be there. Now, our buddy Wildest Ride is asking, how much of a super chat do we need for Dre to recreate the Bill O'Reilly clip?
Oh, interesting.
You, man. How much?
Okay.
Or would you do it? I don't know. It's up to you.
I think I can do something here. I think I can do something. How does that go? It's like we'll do it live. We'll do it live. We'll do it live, okay? We'll do it live, all right? We'll do it live, all right? You don't have to talk. You don't have to talk. It's fine. We'll do it live. Yeah, okay. That's about as good as I can do on improv, short notice, everything like that.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic.
That's just a crazy outburst. It's insane. It's become, oh my God, it's become legendary. But George, I think the same question goes to you. How do you feel about this? The 6 years of the channel and to play such a profound part in it, sir. How are you feeling right now? Because this is quite a monumental moment.
It is. And before I answer that question, I just have to say to Wildest, we'll be waiting for the $2,500 super chat. So we'll be waiting for that one.
There you go. Okay. We didn't put a price tag on it. It's a post price purchase. I like it.
So, I mean, I have to admit to the fact, OG, you actually got me started on Twitter because I never really went near that platform. I was like old school. I was like Grandpa Joe with Facebook, so it's like, and I started getting into Twitter when OG would kind of set up for his Q&As, if you want to, write me a question, you can comment down below or, write to me on Twitter. So I tried several times to do it through on YouTube, but I guess there was just so many people, so much traffic that it was like, okay, I'll try. I'll go on Twitter. Maybe I'll have better luck to maybe get one of my questions out there on the channel, because I was a huge fan of watching. Because again, that's what drew me to his channel. It wasn't that common. Okay, I'm vlogging in the park. Let's go see this dessert for the 15th millionth time. It was like it was something completely different, and that's what drew my attention. So I wrote a question. I think it was actually about the expo, believe it or not, because the expo was along the lines at the time when I wrote it. And sure enough, the next video that OG did, my question was on there, and he actually got my last name correct. There's not too many people that can get my last name, but it's that Italiano.
I'm telling you, it's because we're both Italian, right?
Yes.
It's the falcione,
It just rolls right off the tongue. So I was like completely, I was like gobsmacked that the fact that, that he picked my question, I was part of that episode. And then it came time where I was, part of a previous podcast. So anyway, I was part of a podcast that I really, honestly, it's not important to even say the name.
Oh, you don't think it's important to say the name, George? We're all very interested in what this is. It's okay. I know we don't want to. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, we were doing a Christmas special that we could pick an influencer, of social media, YouTube, whatever, to invite on the special and kind of interview them to kind of get where, how they got started and what have you. And the first person that popped in my mind was Mr. OG55 over here. So I actually messaged him on Twitter, and he actually got back to me. And that's kind of where the friendship actually started, where, it was, he came on my podcast, and then I would periodically come on this channel, as a special guest. And And then he messaged me for a specific episode, and he said, go and watch and he gave me the date. He gave me like the timestamp for it. He said, I have a guest on who's a really good friend of mine on Twitter. His name is VashSky. And he said, check this video out. And I like watched it, and I was like, I wrote back to him. I was like, oh, I got to get on a show with this guy. And so we kind of set it up. And then that's where it just kind of, our friendship, our brotherhood, it just blossomed to, what the channel is now. And I'm extremely humbled. I'm grateful. I'm glad to have you both in my life, not even just for this channel, but even outside of this channel, that you're a big part of my family. And as I said, being the Italiano, I'm big on family. So
yes. And coming soon, we're going to have a show called The Italians. Coming soon on OG55. No,
Nice.
No, but our dear friend, Theme Park Casual, incredibly gracious, sir. Thank you so much for the $10 donation to the channel. We love you, Casual. You are a dear friend of ours. Casual says here, congrats again, brothers. Thanks for the friendship and insight. All around fun times. Here's to the next chapter. Casual, thank you so much, brother. We cherish the friendship that we have with you. We love you, the energy you bring. Every time we have you on or we're talking on social media, it's always a great time. And Casual, seriously, thank you so much, brother. Actually, in honor of Casual, I actually have a very special drop just for Casual. Here we go.
I don't know. Fly casual.
There we go. Fly Casual.
And I actually have to say something about our buddy Casual. I actually had the privilege of physically meeting up with him when I was out there for the D23 Expo, and I actually got to meet him, hang out with him. We got to have dinner at Trader Sam's, and it was his first time there. And it was, I have to say, this guy is, whatever you see on screen, whatever you see in the chats, he is one of the most genuine, true, good-hearted people that I've actually ever met. And he fits so well, in our group and everything. I'm glad he's part of it, and I'm very glad that I was able to actually hang out with him. So I just had to throw that out there.
Nice. And everybody at home, Theme Park Casual has his own YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. He is incredible. He does a lot of great content from Knott's Berry Farm out here in Southern California, but it's not limited just to that. He also touches upon the Disney parks and just amusement parks and theme parks in general. Amazing content. Great guy. Subscribe to him. Show him all the love and support. We love you, Casual. We love you, Casual.
Absolutely. And I'm super jealous that you got to hang out with him at Trader Sam's. I mean, what a location that was. But Casual, it's amazing guy, and hopefully we'll be able to drink a Trader Sam's drink all together in person sometime soon, because I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And our good friend California Dreamin' coming in with a $2 donation. Thank you so much, California Dreamin'. And he's saying, happy celebration, fellas. Keep up the content. California Dreamin', thank you so much, brother. We really, really do appreciate that. Now, you've been messaging me in my comments asking to come on the channel. I've replied, but I don't know if you've ever gotten those, because I know YouTube is kind of weird when it comes to replying. We will absolutely have you on the channel, brother. If you want to talk shop with us, you are more than welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my email down here. So shoot me an email, California Dreamin', and we'll talk days and times and topics and all that good stuff. But I know you've been asking, and I've been replying, but with YouTube, it's really weird with the replies. I don't know if you've been getting those or not. So just hit me up on
That's
on
why
my
I
email.
was having the issues. That's why I sent you on Twitter.
So just check it. So check us out on just email me and we'll talk about some days and times. So okay, cool. So he got it. He's gonna email me. Perfect. And next super chat comes from Mr. Jay Walker with a $2 donation. Congratulations, Jay. Thank you so much, man. That means the world. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Absolutely. And Matthew Murr coming in with the euros. Thank you so much, Matthew. You have been an incredible supporter of this channel You're constantly sharing our content on social media. We've had you on the channel before. We love you, Matthew. You are awesome. We love your insight. Just love your passion, your fire. You're amazing, brother. We do appreciate all your support. Gentlemen, any words on Mr. Murr?
Well, I do have to actually say, now I'm jealous because I didn't get a chance to record with him yet. So I am looking forward to many more recordings when he's able to come back on the channel and our schedules kind of work out, because I would love to actually have a verbal conversation with him, because I have many conversations with him through Twitter and through private messaging. So it's great to have him on board, and I can't wait to have further conversations with him.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
Love Matthew. He's great. Honestly, his commentary on all things Disney, especially even some of the executive structures over the years, is really profound. And sometimes he'll touch on stuff that I really haven't thought about, or maybe haven't thought about in that way, And that absolutely one of the best. And I do appreciate all the support. Honestly, it's like I said, it's humbling, and we appreciate it here as well, I'm sure. So do appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. So let's dive in a little bit to some, because that's what we do here at OG55. We dive into some Disney parks talk, speculation, kind of nerding out. That's what we do here. And what better way to celebrate 6 years of OG of 55 than to kind of do what we do, right? So let's dive into some of this stuff. Now, there has been some news lately in regards to Universal, which might kind of tie into Disney parks. Now, apparently, and I'll bring up the, let me go ahead and actually bring it up. Give me just a second, because I think this is actually very, very interesting.
I guess a lot of these CEOs decided to speak to all kinds of people on Wall Street. So there's a lot of great tidbits out there from Bob Chapek doing something similar, CEO Brian Roberts, and I guess the trades have been speculating. There's been a lot of interesting stuff the last week or so, stuff that I didn't really think about. I mean, I thought it'd be kind of slow following the 203 Expo. Nope, we're moving right along, and even though it's not specifically Disney centric, all of it still involves Disney to a large degree.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we will be doing a long form show just on the Universal stuff with our good friend Theme Park Wizard, and dive into a little more detail in regards to that with him, because he's really passionate about Universal. So we want to have him on and kind of dive into that. But it says here that Universal Parks merges division to form new products and experience group. Sound familiar, everybody? Says Universal has merged its brand development team with its parks and resort merchandise group to create the newly formed products and experience division. So it says here the current Universal brand development president, Vince Clisseau, I guess is how you say it, will lead the new division. He will report directly to Mark Woodbury, chairman and CEO, Universal Parks and Resorts. So it looks like, at least from this, that they are doing exactly what Bob Chapek did, which is they're taking the products division of the company and they're taking the parks division of the company, smushing them together and making one big unit that focuses on products and experiences. This is interesting. Now, I remember a lot of fans were kind of mocking Chapek for doing this. They're like, "Oh, look at Chapek. He put the products in there. Oh, that's horrible. He's a merchandise guy." Universal doing it now too.
Well, and here's the thing. I still don't agree with that. I still feel like that consumer products should be consumer products and parks should be parks.
Yeah.
However, my gripe is if you're going to bash Disney on that notion, then it has to go the same route with Universal. That if you don't like something when a company does it, you can't just pinpoint one company when 10 other companies are doing it. You have to be kind of universal, no pun intended, with the overall of each company that does this. If you don't agree with it, then you don't agree with it, not just because it's Disney, it's because you just don't agree with that type of business running.
Right. Dre, what are your overall thoughts on this in terms of like what it means for the industry or Universal or Disney? Just overall musings and thoughts in regard to this move.
Well, I mean, going back to Disney just for a second, I mean, I was kind of like, merging of consumer products and parks and resorts. So that's kind of a weird thing to have done, especially as Bob Chapek made the switch from consumer products to parks and resorts. It's very kind of interesting. It's like he didn't want to leave the job or so. But to be fair, I mean, I think Bob Chapek, I think he was sort of a quasi visionary in the regard that. I think he understood the potential that could come from potentially merging the two divisions together. And I know the example that they've used before is that, they really do want, when they're doing like a very immersive land, something like Pandora or Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, for example, they really want the merchandise featured in that land to reflect the qualities of that land and to be consistent with the story that the Imagineers are trying to tell. So I think for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you had, I think it was over 600 distinct merchandise items that were constructed or created for the debut of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and that number has continued to grow as time has gone on. And what they detailed was that kind of that kind of what is it the merger between those two divisions was extremely valuable in creating that merchandise that would be consistent with that story. So you have, for example, the Toydorian toy makers shop, right? And it features like almost hand carved toys that would be sold, similar to what you would encounter at like a market, of some proprietor just kind of selling their rare wares as they've constructed them, right? And you see that kind of consistent story. What is it represented in those kind of unique merchandise items? I mean, it really is kind of a fascinating thing. I understand, Harry Potter and stuff had done similar things before, but Disney at that scale, they had never really attempted anything like that before. And so I think the marriage of those two divisions actually worked out well in that case, and I think that's why Bob Chapek sees the future of the franchise flywheel, right? Or leveraging their activations across their signature machine. This is kind of what he's talking about here. So he's growing that kind of that idea into all divisions of the company and so forth. I think Universal's looking at that going, maybe there's something to be had there. Maybe there's an efficiency or a distinct benefit from the merging of these two entities together that will, make for a better product, or that will increase efficiency on our end, or keep costs down, or whatever they're choosing. I mean, like you said, OG, imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, let's say.
Yeah.
And you gotta tip the cap to Chapek. It looks like he did do something that is being imitated by some of the bigger players in the game.
Yeah, and I think that this whole move by Chapek, when it was initially made, was sort of judged based on like that first kind of out the gate thing, which was, I think, the spider bots in Avengers Campus, and those didn't really resonate that well with guests, to be honest. Right. I mean, maybe little kids are buying them, I don't know, but I always see a bunch of them on the shelf. I mean, I never really see them. I never really seen anyone walking around with them ever. I don't think they've really resonated with fans. So I think that first kind of like test of like, this whole merger with those spider bots was kind of the merging was kind of unfairly judged based on that one product. But I think, like you said, Dre, there are so many possibilities here that you can do when it comes to like these lands, and you're working closer now with that merchandise group to create specialized merchandise for these different lands. And I hope Disney goes back to like even like the old school lands, like Frontierland or Fantasyland, and really making, these toys and merch and everything really like tailored for these lands, like they used to when the park first opened.
And that's where I kind of respectfully disagree with the notion of combining them, because as we have seen throughout the years moving forward, Disney is starting this path where they are creating like a one set brand type of merchandise that you see in every single one of their stores. If you go in Frontierland, you see the same merch that you see in Fantasyland. If you go into Fantasyland, you see the same merch in Adventureland. And I think it's like more of they're capitalizing on that notion where it's like, okay, we're pushing this certain amount, where I feel like that if it was separated from the parks, it wouldn't be so much as, okay, we're pushing this because it's in the parks. We're pushing it because it's a great product. And I think that if consumer products ran by itself, that's where I feel like it could harmonize better than trying to mesh two entities within a company that I really feel like that they should be run separate.
Well, you definitely see a homogeneity. I'm not saying that you don't. I think this is. I think these kind of things are a little bit more cyclical, right? So, I remember during the Paul Pressler era, we got a lot of homogeneous, or homogenous, I should say, product lines from those distinct locations, right? We lost the one-of-a-kind shop on New Orleans Square. We lost the cowboy boots on, in Frontierland and so forth, and it started to become generic Disney merchandise, right? Unfortunately, while we have had great success with some things like the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge merch, for example, or even the Pandora, the World of Avatar kind of merch that we see sold in there, we have, I think, seen a little bit of regression. I think I will definitely agree with that, George. I think part of that is also driven by the lack of outlet stores and a lot of the lack of some of these distribution arms that they used to have, right? And so we're seeing stuff thrown in there that maybe shouldn't be thrown in there. I've expressed my feelings on that, on why I think that is to you fellas before, but it's just like it's kind of a weird thing. I will say though, I mean, we do occasionally get something that's a little bit like, ooh, that's interesting. For example, the DLC, right, that you had for Avengers Campus Web Slingers, right, where you could like buy a device and that would interact in unique ways with that attraction. That we had never seen anything like that before, and I think that wouldn't have quite have been possible without the merger of these two entities, in the form of consumer products and parks and resorts. So I don't know. I mean, does it come with some downsides? Yeah, I think so, absolutely. But there are some potential upsides that create, in my mind, create some really cool, unique opportunities, both on the merch level and on the parks level.
And that's like for any decision, really. There's going to be ups and downs of any kind of decision. And I agree with you 100%. There's a way to execute this properly. There's a way that you can execute it really poorly. And they're just going to have to find that middle ground where they can really get it, where it comes off well done. I mean, you just don't want to have something that comes off cheap and kind of, So we'll see. But we got a super sticker from our good friend Alia Aloha. Alia, friend of the channel. She's been on the channel actually kind of recently. We were talking some D23, had a fantastic conversation. Alia, thank you so much. You always have friends here at OG55. We love you, Alia. And the Captain John D coming in with a $10 donation. Captain, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Humbling. Thank you so much. Captain says, congrats on 6 years, gentlemen. Thankful for the top-notch content and the format you bring to the Disney YouTube realm. Unique, refreshing, and positive. Cheers. Well, thank you, John. That means a lot to us, man. We try really hard to bring something different to the audience, something that a lot of other creators aren't necessarily doing. That was kind of like the mission statement when I started the channel 6 years ago, is to do something different in this space. And we're going to continue and we're going to keep going. And we made a really great community here. And John, we always love seeing you in the chat and everything. And just thank you so much, man. It means the world to us.
Captain, your support is incredible. I think I think a last premiere we had, or one of the last premieres we had, I think he jumped in with a $20 super chat as well, which is just wild. I mean, it's just crazy. Honestly, Captain, thank you so much for all your support and even featuring us in some of your content and stuff like that. Look, I find it pretty amusing. I don't know about you fellas, but
pretty awesome. It's pretty. It's pretty. He makes great content. Really great content.
I do agree. It's pretty great. Not even gonna front. But fascinating gentleman, Captain John Diaz. So I do appreciate it. I mean, your endorsement, it means the world to us for sure. It's quite interesting though. I think about the Universal having their own kind of consumer products combined with Parks and Resorts entity. I don't know about you fellas, but I mean the merchandise game in terms of how I've seen it before, represented at even the Super Nintendo merch or the Harry Potter merch especially. Universal's merch game is, I mean, quite frankly, I mean, it's top tier. It's top notch in my mind. Some of the Harry Potter stuff is really cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree with. I think that Universal kind of has a one up on Disney in that sense because, as you had mentioned, Vash, with Harry Potter, with the Super Nintendo, then we're going to get the classic Universal monsters. I mean, there's like so much that can be brought out with the consumer. And I think Universal is trying to stay ahead of the game by getting all this kind of together, ready for when the park opens. So it's like they're going like full steam ahead.
Well, they're going, what is the... Well, maybe we should save that. Should save that. However, I will say, I mean, they're going full bore into like Super Nintendo World, for example. So much so that they actually have Super Nintendo merch being sold right now at Universal Studios Hollywood, even before the land opens, because they know it's going to be. There you go. They know it's going to be so incredibly popular, and I do believe it is. But you do see some integration with the land and those wristbands, right? That I guess has proven successful in Japan. We'll see how it goes in the States. But I just kind of wonder, like, what is the future for Universal merchandise with these two entities kind of merged together? I mean, in my mind, they had produced a very successful merchandise platform for their parks. I don't know, guys. What do you think?
Well, I do want to say that's what I just kind of want to speak on the quality of the Universal stuff. This is the Minions popcorn bucket.
There you go.
And it's hard to tell on camera, but I got to be completely honest. The quality is higher quality than that of the Disney popcorn buckets. This is a really well-made bucket. It's actually pretty adorable too, to be honest. I'm not even like a Minions person, but it's a pretty good looking bucket,
I know you're not a Minions person, OG, so that even having that surprises me. But hey, look, listen, you produce a quality product. Even a non-fan might become a fan. I know for myself personally, I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan myself, but some of those Harry Potter merchandise offerings are just like, whoa, this quality blows me away, and for a pretty acceptable price as well.
Now we got a super chat from Mr. Jay Walker, $2. Thank you so much, Jay, for the donation to the channel. We do appreciate you, Jay. And he says, I'm excited for Epic Universe. Excited for Epic Universe. Okay, now the Epic Universe thing, we did a show on that with Wizard a few weeks ago, and it was phenomenal. There's a lot of great stuff coming into that park, coming to that resort. I think it'll be a huge success, in my opinion. I don't know. I think it'll be well received. The jury is still out in regards to the impact it'll have on the larger theme park kind of industry in that area. Is it going to cannibalize some of Disney stuff, take away from Disney, or is Universal going to cannibalize their own stuff? Are people just going to skip the studios and we'll just do Epic Universe and Islands of Adventure? How is that dynamic going to play out? That's what I'm the most interested.
And I would. Actually, I would, because actually from having my own experience, I only need one day at the studios. That's it. If I had to pick and choose, I would do multiple days at Islands of Adventure, and obviously of what's coming in Epic Universe, you don't need multiple days at the studios. Not unless OG, you want to take that second round on Despicable Me Minion Mayhem.
Yeah, no thanks.
Also, you got to think first bite at the apple. If people go to Epic Universe first, and maybe engage in some of those new consumer products, parks and resorts, merchandise opportunities, right? Buy a little food there, and they get those first dollars coming out. I mean, that could be something too that affects Disney as well. Like, oh, well, we spent a lot of money at Universal. Let's go ahead and go modest at Disney. That kind of stuff. I mean, that was the big thing about Harry Potter. Really, it wasn't just that people were going to Harry Potter; it was that they were spending their dollars there first. So that's kind of my like, ooh, how is this going to affect the center of gravity in the Orlando area?
Wizarding World was the very first all-around immersive experience with consumer products, because you didn't get a typical bottled water in Wizarding World. You didn't get a Coca-Cola. It was everything that was part of the book series, everything that was part of the films. It was completely captivating that whatever they had, you were entering their world. And actually Disney kind of took a little bit off of Universal with that when they started, making Pandora and Galaxy's Edge. And even then, Galaxy's Edge, you could still, see the Sprite and the Coca-Cola emblems, but written in, Batu. But Universal really kind of started that tradition where it's like when you enter the world, when we mean everything is immersive, it's everything.
Right. And one thing that's interesting, and I think it was actually our good friend Alia brought this up to me on social media, and I think it's an interesting conversation to actually have. It's in regards to the hotels. Now, the Universal hotels have been really just crushing it lately. Like a lot of people stay at Cabana Bay or, the on-site Universal hotels. But Alia brought up a great point, and she was saying how a lot of people are staying at Universal hotels, but then they're spending most of their time at the Disney parks though.
Sure.
Does Universal necessarily want to be the hotel, basically a hotel chain for Disney? What do you think about that? I mean, is that something that is something that Universal might have to work on and sort of keep people on their property more? Because as of right now, it seems like a lot of people are staying at Universal hotels and then going to the Disney parks.
I think they're already working on that in the form of building a new park, right? Epic Universe. I think they're hoping for another day from, visitors visiting the Orlando market, right? I mean, I think a lot of people kind of, and rightfully so, have this idea that, the vacation time is limited in terms of the American vacation time and so forth. You only have so many days to spend at these parks. Well, if you can take a day away from Disney, and drive that towards a Universal park, I think that's a win. You also see them with a new water park and so forth. I think they're really trying to be that vacation destination that offers it all. But I don't necessarily think it's a loss if people are staying at Universal and going to Disney. I mean, revenues. So, I don't really, they're not going to say, oh, well, you want to go to Disney? No, we don't want you here. No, I think they're going to, invite anybody who wants to stay at their resort hotel properties, and they'll be getting their money one way or another.
100%. And our friend Wicked Virtue is in the chat. Wicked, it is so good to see you. Thank you for joining us, Wicked. Thank you for joining us. And
she's great.
She is awesome. And she has a YouTube channel and a Twitch. Check her out on YouTube. I believe it's under just Wicked Virtue. You'll find her. She's amazing. She does a lot of gaming stuff. Really, really good content. Really, really great stuff. She was actually on the channel a couple months ago. Really fun conversation about her Universal experience.
Absolutely, 100%.
Now RV Bandwagon says here, have you ever been over to the Epic work site? Freaking amazing. You got to check it out. Will blow your mind. I have not. I mean, I've seen aerial pictures of it. It looks crazy, the amount of work going on over there, but
I can imagine what it looks like in person. I've seen the aerial views myself, and just by it, the scope of this thing is going to be massive. So I could imagine what it looks like in person.
And apparently it's only a portion of the land that they've set aside for this thing. I mean, there's so much expansion space. I guess there's land enough for an entirely new park, even beyond Epic Universe. You see some of these aerial photographs from BioReconstruct and others, and you see like the construction, members of the construction team represented there in scale, right? You can see them, and then you just see what huge structures they're working on. It's mind blowing, honestly, how big this stuff is. But hey, I was just recently at the Cotina site in Palm Springs. That was a very interesting one. I did not know that Disney's Cotina site was so close to where I was staying. Literally a couple of streets over. I was like, "Whoa, it's right here!" You know, that site's quite interesting. Not necessarily as interesting as Epic Universe for sure, but because I think it's just dirt. They haven't really done anything. However, beautiful location, I must say. Beautiful location.
Yeah. And Alia, like I said, she kind of reiterates what I said. We talked about this on social media, but she says, does Universal really want to be known as the cheap hotel host for Disney when people visit Disney more than Universal Parks? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a case to be made about that, Alia. And we kind of touched upon it already, but I think there is a case to be made about that. But I also think that there is a case to be made, like what Dre said, where, hey, money's money. And, these hotels bring in a lot of money too. So are they necessarily upset that people are staying at their hotels? Probably not. But at the same time, I think they do wish there'd be a little bit more of that bubble, people just kind of keeping it in Universal, and they're working on that. But it's a fascinating conversation. Right
now, I think, and Alia had another message in the chat there alluding to this, but I think Universal right now, they're in market capture mode. And we actually heard Brian Roberts actually talk about that, how they were kind of gaining ground on Disney, so to speak. To what degree is, obviously nobody releases attendance details or releases that data for us to view, but apparently that market capture strategy is working for them. Now, I do agree. Once they have captured that market, let's see how these prices are, adjusted to reflect that new captured market, so to speak. I think there will be some adjustment in terms of, hey, you know what, Cabana Bay, it's been nice at that previous price point, but how would you like to pay? I don't know, contemporary prices. Maybe it might not go that far, but who knows? I mean, it's. But hey, look, listen. Consumers looking to, looking for maybe a more affordable option, or maybe looking for more options. Competition's good, so keep it driving.
Keep it going. And then Michael Wilson says, does anyone know what sort of budget Universal is working with for Epic Universe? Is it supposed to be a true Disney quality theme park? Well, I don't know what the budget is, to be quite honest with you, Michael, but it is supposed to be. I mean, the expectation is that this is going to be a Disney quality theme park. And I would even go a little bit further. I think the expectation is that it's supposed to be even better than that. And it's going to change the industry. And that's why I've said many, many times, when it comes to Epic Universe, they have to hit a home run. Anything short of that is kind of a disappointment, because I think that the expectations right now is that this park and this resort is going to change the game forever. And if it just kind of treads water and we kind of just get another Islands of Adventure, while a great park, I think that would fall short of the overall expectation of this thing needs to revolutionize the Orlando market. Go ahead, George.
Okay, so I actually have a question for you fellas, actually from you just saying that, OG, and everyone actually in the chat as well. I would love to hear your opinion on it. Of what you just said right now, it's either going to be a hit or miss.
Right.
Kind of going on to the subject of the D23 Expo with the parks panel, because I was actually physically there. And there was some announcements, or I should say lack thereof, that may or may not happen, primarily with Disney's Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, with the expansion of Coco and Kanto, Moana, Zootopia, and of course that highly anticipated Villains Land. I mean, I would obviously love to see that. Could that be Disney's way of, rather than hurrying and making a definitive decision to say, okay, we're going to do something as ambitious as this to answer back to Epic Universe, we're going to kind of wait and see if it's a hit or miss, and then we can kind of strategize before putting a full budget plan into something like that?
That's a smart move, honestly. And I know fans want like something like ready and open. Once Epic Universe opens, they want Disney's response open the next day. but that's not good. That's not good business strategy. Like, look, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantees in life, right? And there's no guarantee. As much as we think Epic Universe will be a success, that's not a foregone conclusion. There is a reality where this thing falls short of expectations and it doesn't pull the numbers they want to pull or whatever. So why is Disney going to pour money into a response? They have no idea how people are going to receive this park. So it's okay to wait and see what that response is and then respond. Look, Disney's already done that. They waited a few years when they responded to Wizarding World, right? We got Pandora and Galaxy's Edge. Okay. Disney didn't collapse because they waited a few years. They're still having healthy, robust attendance and everything. It was fine. Same thing will happen here. Epic Universe will open. Disney will kind of sit back, wait and see how it does. If it's a big hit, they'll respond accordingly, just like they did with Galaxy's Edge, in my opinion. But what do you think, Dre?
Well, I mean, look, there's a there's a pretty infamous story about how CV Wood and Walt Disney. I mean, if you've seen Braden or Mickey Views' new channel, I believe address unknown, right? One of the first videos is going into the history of CV Wood, this kind of master builder of Disneyland, right beside Walt Disney, and how that whole thing came about. Well, one of the things not featured in that story is how CV Wood broke apart from, Disney after Walt essentially kicked him out of the organization, kicked him out of the company, right? He took a lot of the people who built Disneyland with him, and to start up a new enterprise, and that was going to directly compete with Disney in Disneyland and so forth. And Walt Disney was very much like, hey, you know what? Before CV Wood even has a chance to compete with us, we have to improve Disneyland. We have to compete, even before he can even lay the groundwork for his new park. So that's when Walt Disney really pushed for the idea of building the Submarine Voyage, the the monorail, and the Matterhorn, all for their grand opening on the same day in 1959. And CV Wood, when he was looking at this kind of opening special for these three attractions, he looks at the Matterhorn and he says, "Boys, right there, that's the biggest middle finger that you're ever possibly going to see." And so when I see the Matterhorn, I see that as the big middle finger to all the competition that arose out of the success of Disneyland and overall the competitors that attempted to compete with the mouse and Walt Disney himself. But as we know, there's only one Walt Disney, and so and that was an extremely risky proposition, by the way, because Disney was still trying to pay back its debts, and it was still trying to own more of the park than it did before. At least Walt was, and it was all kind of a convoluted thing. Very risky venture, though, and like I said, there's only one Walt Disney. So how do you do that at the kind of scale that Disney's at, and how do you how do you reduce risk for a venture like that? Well, you have to wait. You have to wait and see. And I think that's what happened. The most notable case of this happening was when Universal built their last park, which was in the Orlando area, which was Islands of Adventure. Again, the Imagineers were going to go forward with Beastly Kingdom as a kind of a phase 2 for Disney's Animal Kingdom. Didn't quite pan out, right? Michael Eisner, got embroiled in all of his messes and so forth, and really, maybe Disney's Animal Kingdom, had it been more successful out the gate, maybe they would have gone forward with a Beastly Kingdom. They fired a whole bunch of Imagineers. Some of those went to Universal Creative, into the the creation for Islands of Adventure itself, and it was like, Beastly, Islands of Adventure is coming out. Hey, maybe we can go ahead and get Beastly Kingdom made as in response to Islands of Adventure, which was shaping up to be a kind of a game-changing park. Very similar to how Epic Universe is being referred to now. A lot of people thought it was going to be, next-gen, game-changing, affect the center of gravity in the Orlando market and all that. And the Imagineers were confident. Oh, Beastly Kingdom, as soon as that comes out, we'll respond with this. Well, when Islands of Adventure opened, didn't really set the world on fire. It didn't have that kind of gravitational shift that a lot of people were expecting. And so thus they didn't go forward with Beastly Kingdom. Now it ended up working out quite nicely because, well, when Universal did actually have something that was worth responding to in the form of Harry Potter and the Wizarding World, well, they responded with where they were going to build Beastly Kingdom, Pandora, the world of Avatar. And honestly, I think everybody can agree that it was a lot better than what Beastly Kingdom could ever achieve back in that day. So, sometimes, these things work out, sometimes they don't, but sometimes they have silver linings, let's say, attached to them. But from Disney's perspective, I think they really want to wait. And so when George brings up the fact that, they come out with this stuff at D23 Expo, this kind of what if segment in their parks panel, it's a little bit unorthodox for sure. I don't much care for it myself, but I do think he is right in that I think they were focus group testing some of this stuff with the audience that was there. I think they are considering projects with which they can compete with if Epic Universe actually does blow the lid off in the Orlando market. But again, it's all contingent on what Epic Universe is actually going to do. It's going to be very fascinating for us theme park fans.
I think it's actually kind of funny because when I went to the parks panel, what it actually felt like to me was like, like when they set up I apologize if you hear the train, it's celebrating with the 6 years with us. So never fails.
Hype train.
I think that, it's the hype train, and it's going back to Walt Disney World. Only a few more months, guys.
Hopefully. But what the parks panel felt like for me was when you kind of create like a group session and you bring in young kids and you show them like a set of new toys and you kind of take notes of saying, oh, let's see, this kid likes this toy, but this kid likes this toy. Should we add this on? That's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like as if they wanted to kind of get our perspective of our reactions to it and kind of like build off of that.
It's a focus group, It's judging 100%. Audience expectations, judging audience desire, right? Or enthusiasm, I should say. I mean, look, the villains, that villains when they talked about the idea or the prospect of building a villains land out there beyond Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which while this ride's very interesting, I'm taking over the train. It's a good, always on brand. I love that, but. When that actually occurred, I mean, the loudest cheers that I had heard in any panel from the expo ever, I remember hearing during that segment. I mean, people just went nuts. And so I think if Josh Giamaro, who, by the way, I actually ran into this weekend, very, very interesting.
Daddy Josh.
Daddy Josh, Mr. Unfavorable himself. When he's sitting, when he's standing there on the stage and let's say he needs to have a little bit of ammo in his pocket to actually get some of this stuff approved from Bob Chapek, who's writing out the checks. Hey, that's a kind of a, hey, look, listen, maybe we should go forward with this villain's land simply because of the enthusiastic response that we got from it. Maybe there is something here. Right. And, we have heard that Chapek and the team is going to be more consumer driven, right? They're going to be driven by, what their consumers want, audience expectation, what their enthusiasm level is for some of these things. This might be a reflection of that. I think it's very interesting.
And that would really show. Like, that would be a huge statement for Chapek and Damaro that, if they actually listened to us and based off of the cheering and the applauding and the, and what have you. And I think if Epic Universe is as successful as we are all anticipating it to be, I can almost guarantee that the villains concept is going to be the first one on the table.
It will, 100%. Based on that response, it will be, I think. Absolutely. Now Elgo says, congratulations, you guys bring congratulations, you guys bring a very fun and intelligent show. Found you 2 weeks ago, and I've been binging past episodes, all top notch. Well, thank you, Elgo. That means a lot to us. Thank you so much. We try to just have a really fun, kind of like in-depth, intelligent kind of conversation about these parks and really dive deep, And I'm glad that you find value in it, Elgo. Thank you so much for your support, and welcome to OG55.
Well, I think a lot of people take away from OG55 and something we try to do on this show is really just have the conversations that a lot of other people are having, but maybe not necessarily the ones that they want to have in front of anybody else. You know, we try to keep it very organic, naturalistic, whatever you want to say. And I think it's like, oh, yeah, you know what? I was thinking something similar to that, and these guys are actually saying it. We try to be that. So I do. We all here at on OG55 very much appreciate that for sure. It's what we try to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And our friend Ali Aloha says, no middle ground for Epic Universe. That is ouch pressure. Yeah, and look, I could be wrong. But the expectations I'm seeing out there for Epic Universe are through the freaking roof.
Yep.
This thing has to change the game.
Yep.
And to be honest, and this is on a smaller scale, right? But I remember the lead up to the Mario Kart attraction over in Japan that we're getting here in Hollywood and in Epic Universe, by the way. The lead up to that attraction was, this thing is going to change the industry. This is the most high tech, crazy thing we're ever going to see. This is amazing. The build up for that attraction was so massive. And then it opened in Japan, and a lot of people were watching the videos and kind of going through all of it and was like, it's a racing ride that goes really slow, you know, and there wasn't a whole look. People weren't saying it's a bad ride, but the expectation fell short of what people were kind of going into it with.
I actually know someone who was working on the Mario Kart, the original concept,
right? And
of what they were working on was far more better than what the final product actually came out to be. And he was part of that division. They all got let go because of the notion and the budget, and it just wasn't turning out right. So they kind of forego that. They brought in a new team, and we got what is coming to Epic Universe.
Well, and these things do reverberate through the community. Like for myself, for example, I'm a little bit less enthusiastic about Super Nintendo Land as a result of that attraction not being necessarily up to the par that I think we all kind of built up in our heads, you know. Right. And it's like, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to rush to see it now. I do hear that some fans of the channel have invited us out to actually go see that in Universal Studios Hollywood, and just that alone is like, okay, well, now I got to go out. But it's like, without that, it's just like, do I really, am I wanting to, spend the time, the effort, the energy in order to actually see this thing when it premieres, knowing that this attraction is not, everything that it could be. A lot of people could have the same reaction to Epic Universe, where, hey, the initial reviews come out or the initial video comes out, and it's not necessarily as groundbreaking or mind-blowing as we all kind of thought, and it's like, maybe I don't go to Epic Universe, and that could have a seismic shift as well. Right. It's gonna, the expectations are here,
huge,
and it's
massive.
Some of that is generated by them not necessarily revealing what they are doing.
Right. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword because you don't promise anything, but at the same time, it allows people's imaginations to run wild. It kind of reminds me, to be quite honest with you, the lead up to the sequel trilogy was kind of the same thing. It was very secret, and the energy and was like the expectations were through the roof, and we all know how that turned out. Not to say Epic Universe will bear the same fate necessarily of being so divisive, but it can lead to problems when you allow people just to let their imaginations run wild, and those expectations are through the roof. Now, our buddy here, Wildest Ride, says, I still think a fifth park will only cannibalize the other Diz parks. It probably will.
Freaking lootly.
Probably will, Wild.
No. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not even a probably. It will. That's why, for how many times that I've been to Walt Disney World, that to add another park right now, they need to focus on the 4 that they already have, because they need to add more into those parks. And I feel like even that little tease at the expo about adding new lands into these parks and expanding the parks, if Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom get those expansions, that's perfect. That's great. That's what it needs.
And that's
Right.
it was always within the context of adding, right? It was not none of these plans, none of anything that we've heard has been in the context of fifth park, because they know that dynamic. And as I've said myself, it's like, hey, listen, let's not think about a fifth park until you finish the last two you built,
Right.
in the Orlando
100%.
market. That's kind of my feeling on it.
Well, and I've been saying this for the longest time, but there's only so much time that people can go on vacation. So there's going to become a point here in the Orlando theme park market where people are going to have to make decisions, whether you're going to Universal or Disney. Even right now, it's very difficult to hit all of the Walt Disney World stuff and the Universal stuff. Well, in a few years, now you're going to have even more Universal stuff. There's going to get to a point where people can't go on vacation for 3 weeks. Like they're going to have to make that call. And maybe this is going to change the way people visit these parks. Maybe, dare I say it, Disney might have to go with a more locals kind of approach and kind of have it a little more surgical and not so much these over encompassing family vacations. Have a little bit more locals driven where people just kind of go like what they do here in California, right? The new thing opens at DCA, the locals go to DCA. The new thing opens at Disneyland, the locals go to Disneyland. But it's not part of an overall encompassing vacation. Disney and Universal might have to sort of lean in that direction in Orlando because eventually they're just going to have to. There's only so much time. You can't spend, 3 weeks on vacation. So, we'll see.
It's kind of like the streaming wars where you have everybody and their mother has a streaming service in which they provide. Well, not everybody's going to get every single streaming service. So who is going to be left? And I think Universal, looking at it from the parks context, they don't want to be left, holding the bag. I think they want to be, they want to end up with a nice set of those days set aside for people to experience the larger Orlando market.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And the Rogue attraction, our friend Rogue, hey Rogue, what's going on, buddy? He says Disney can't do a fifth gate, maybe a resort only attraction. Yeah, I'm telling you, 5 gates, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
And that's not even including the new pseudo cruise line thing with, the Galactic Cruise Liner, right? The Star Wars Hotel, that's a 3-day
the Star
experience.
Cruiser. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's just too much at this point.
And the fifth gate the long rumor was about the villains. Like the fifth gate was supposedly going to be all about the villains and what have you. And the fact that they're teasing that it's going to be a land connected into Magic Kingdom, well, that just kind of throws that out of the park. So what really do you make as a fifth gate and without repeating yourself? And you're going to have to put so much into that. And then you're going to have to forego, as Dre, you had mentioned, the parks that you already have. And then there goes that unbalancing of, okay, well, we'll do an attraction in this park and then we won't put in another one for another 4 years. And then we'll go over to here for next year. And then that'll be 5 years. And it's like, you can't do it.
They're already at a part where it's like you have 2 very underbuilt parks. And by the way, one that's completely taken apart in order to rebuild in the form of Epcot. So it's like, do we really want to expand those problems and headaches? I don't think they do. I think they're very much in completing the previous 2 parks they've already built. If there's something that belongs in Magic Kingdom, go through that. We're talking... I wouldn't be surprised if we're half a century away, literally from another park. It just doesn't make fiscal sense right now, for sure.
No, and that's why I've been very bullish in regards to Disneyland Resort getting a 3rd park, because in terms of growth, and I'm not saying physical growth, but in terms of like financial growth and hotel occupancy, there's much more growth at Disneyland Resort because it's much easier for a family to tack on another day or 2 to a Disneyland Resort vacation. It's only 2 parks right now. You add a 3rd one, that's doable for a family. In Florida, it's like insane. To add 5, to have a 5th gate and then Epic Universe and that, it's just too much. It's absolutely too much.
Well, it's kind of interesting. That's kind of what, and this was the subject in our Epic Universe actual video that we did with Theme Park Wizard most recently. That's kind of what Universal is doing right now, or Comcast is doing right now with the Universal Floridian Resort That's what they're doing, is they're adding a new gate. They are growing in a way that a lot of Disneyland fans would like them to grow out here. So it is kind of a test case. Like, hey, does this kind of work? Because I am kind of bullish. If it works out there, it's going to work back over here. It's interesting. This actually brings a good point here in the chat. They can't even run 2 water parks concurrently.
That is true.
I mean, it's to cut at the heart of the issue. That's it. I mean, they have way too much on their maintenance plan already. Do we really want to add on another park like that? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. And I think even Volcano Bay is taking a hit. I think there's just too much. There's just too much. I mean, how many water parks do you need in the Orlando area? It gets, after a while, it gets kind of crazy. And actually, Wildest brought up a great question here as well. He said, what's the latest on the Angel Stadium? Is that land back up for grabs? I mean, it's I haven't actually heard anything new on that. But I know that the owner of the Angels wants to sell, right?
Yep, he wants to sell. And we know how the Harry Sadu thing went. And conflicts of interest, people wanting to back out, get back in. I don't know. That whole thing is a very, like I said, it's a very fluid situation. And I'm not saying that Disney isn't looking at it. I think they're looking at all opportunities as they exist in the Anaheim market. As we know, it's a very there's not a lot of land going around. But it's just, what decisions is Disney going to make, really? That's kind of the question. I would say this. If Disney makes a run on the Angel Stadium site, we're definitely going to know about it, and we might get indicators to that end if they acquire land in surrounding areas and so forth. Keep an eye out for that. But if they make a grab at the Garden Walk, which we've all kind of speculated that it's like that's kind of something you need there, then I think that would tell us as well, like maybe the Anaheim. The Angel Stadium concept maybe is on the back burner, and maybe before the FBI takes ownership. Yeah, that's a very interesting. But look for those indicators, because I think they'll tell you everything you want to know about what's going forward there.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's funny. Wow, to sell before the FBI takes ownership. That's hilarious, dude. That is absolutely hilarious. Robert White says Anaheim makes it so hard for Disney. Robert, you have no idea, man. I'm about to get super triggered on this because this topic riles me up. The amount of resistance the city of Anaheim gives Disney is absolute just nonsense. I mean, it's just nonsense. I mean, there is no Anaheim without Disneyland Resort. I mean, it would be like every other city in California. It would be like it wouldn't be the world-renowned city it is today without that park. And they consistently fight Disney on every expansion, every little thing they want to do. I think, Dre, we had a conversation on the phone the other day with your brother talking about the 4th hotel that Disney and the city were fighting over 100 feet, and that hotel ended up getting canceled. All those jobs, all those hospitality jobs down the toilet over 100 fucking feet.
100
and it's
feet.
like ridiculous.
And you would think after the shutdown and Disneyland being closed for 412 days, you think the city would have learned a little bit of a lesson of what it's like when Disneyland is not in the spotlight. It needs to be in the spotlight for the city of Anaheim.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. I may fly all the way cross country for Carl's Jr., but I'm not flying all the way out there for Denny's or McDonald's. It's not going to happen.
That's it, right?
Oh, I am. I go down there to the Denny's and go home.
I'll tell you what. I mean, there was a recent announcement. OG, you actually filled me in on this, which I do appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing that. He was the one keeping me up to date, guys. It wasn't me. This is a joint operation between all of us for sure.
Yes.
But there was a new hotel concept announced for the Anaheim area, right off Harbor Boulevard, a couple streets down from Disneyland proper itself, in the form of a Nickelodeon hotel. And it's a massive property, or at least it looks like it's going to be. But I was reading in the details, that whole thing took like a decade just to get to that point.
Oh my god!
And then it doesn't open until 2027. It's
my god,
whoa!
dude.
It's like, oh my gosh! It's like this is a 15-year thing here, and it's just like, whoa, if you really extrapolate that out, imagine what kind of process Disneyland has with the city of Anaheim doing something similar, whether it be a hotel, parking garage, whatever infrastructural requirements that they may have. I mean, Nickelodeon, 15 years. It's like, okay, I can kind of understand why progress at Disneyland Resort outside of the parks themselves a little bit slow.
Yeah, no, 100%. And before we move on to the trivia that we're going to have in just a minute, Alessio Pasquale. Alessio, you've been a supporter and a friend for a long time, brother. Thank you so much for all your support. I really do enjoy your insight on social media and about film and TV and all that. You do a phenomenal job, Alessio, and I love your passion, sir. But Alessio says here, what do you guys think of the rumors and speculation that MCU Phase 6 now begins with Deadpool 3 in the fall of 2024 on September 6th? That's interesting, Alessio. Wow. That's interesting. I mean, I hope so. I hope so. I really want to see Deadpool. And a lot of fans are worried about Deadpool because they feel like it's going to get like Disney-fied. Mm-hmm. And I kind of scoffed at that for a long time, because Disney has done some pretty edgy stuff with the MCU so far, and I'm like, oh, no, you don't have to worry about it. But after watching some She-Hulk, and I don't know, I'm a little worried because I'm not in love with She-Hulk, to be honest. It does seem a little CW to me. I don't hate it. Like a lot of people hate it. I don't hate it, but it's not good though. Like really good. It's not really. There you go. but here's the thing. It's like, oh, there's the hype train. That's the MCU hype train behind
It's the MCU hype train. It's coming into station.
But here's the thing, right? It's like, okay, so Disney has done some pretty edgy stuff with the MCU, I think, But sure. Lately, a lot of their stuff has been really like comedy driven and really lighthearted, which is fine. But now I'm getting a little worried about Deadpool. I got to be honest. Like I kind of feel like, wow, well, look what they did to Kingpin. They kind of watered him down with in Hawkeye. It's looking like they're kind of watering Daredevil down in this She-Hulk. We haven't seen it yet, to be fair. He hasn't made an appearance yet, but it looks like they're watering it down. It's not the same.
I've seen some never before seen footage with
really?
the scene with Daredevil and the She-Hulk at the expo.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's yeah. So
well, there you go, fans. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, George. Yeah.
That's
a big take right there.
I will say though, what you said, OG, with a lot of that comedy, and it's kind of sort of not like what I'm used to when watching Daredevil. It kind of shows through.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems like Kevin Feige and the Marvel team just kind of they're slipping. They're slipping a little bit, And look, if this was a couple of years ago during the when Marvel couldn't produce a bad film, as much as they may have tried. I mean, I had full confidence in them to realize Daredevil for the MCU, full confidence. But now, after stuff like Multiverse of Madness and how they've integrated some of those characters in the MCU, and maybe didn't, maybe it wasn't the best representation of those characters. Let's say, I see, like the Kingpin stuff, Daredevil stuff. I'm just like,
I'm a little worried.
I don't know if this is going to work. So cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Let's put that way. Let's dive into some trivia. Let's celebrate this man hitting 1,000 followers on Twitter. Let's do a little trivia. We have 3 questions, and they're all channel driven questions about the channel. Right? We're here on the 6th anniversary. We're celebrating Dre getting 1,000. Very channel driven questions, and you guys can cheat. I'm not gonna look. I can't prevent you from cheating. So if you want to go back and look at stuff, you can do that. But whoever gets the answer first in the comments gets a point. And whoever gets the most points out of the 3 questions, so basically if you get 2 out of the 3, boom, you win an OG55 t-shirt. So let's get started. All right, so the first question, what attraction was featured in OG55's first video? What attraction was featured in OG55's very first video? And again, if you guys have to cheat, you can do that. It's fine.
If I answer this, do I get a point?
George, you can't play, buddy.
You can't play. You're disqualified.
Exactly.
You are disqualified.
Exactly.
Oh,
We got one.
we got one.
We got a nibble.
It looks like Tanuki 91 has it. Mission Breakout. You got it, Tanuki. You got it. So point goes to Tanuki. All right, here we go. Number two. Question. What company besides Disney was the main focus in our April Fool's Day video 2022? What company besides Disney was the main focus in our April Fool's Day video 2022?
And I will
Here we
tell
go.
you this, folks. This was the hardest video we ever had to make with how many takes.
This is legitimately the hardest video.
The hardest video we ever had to do. There were so many takes on that video. Oh. Here we go. Showcase got it.
Case of wishes.
Showcase got it. And actually, you know what? Since he got it, and we got to do our favorite Carl's drop, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Come on, it's obligatory. I mean, we have to.
We have to. Oh man.
One more time.
I'm West Coast sick already.
And then our next question is, see, I have bad grammar on this. It's how did I come up with the name Orange Grove 55? How did I come up with the name Orange Grove 55?
Well, now I question the entire name of the channel because you screwed up the wording there. Wait, no, I'm joking. You're fine. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll do it live. The Bill O'Reilly thing. Sometimes that's accurate. Sometimes we will do this. Very, very quickly before the show.
100%. Okay, so yes, that's true. That is true, Lego, but it's built on an Orange Grove, but what's 55 though? What's 55? Oh, I think we got one. Haley, Disneyland was built on an Orange Grove and it opened in 1955. There you go. So we have a problem.
well, hang on. Well, did Showcase get that first?
Oh, wait, hold on. Uh-oh, you are correct. I am so sorry. You are absolutely correct. Showcase did get it first. They came in like seconds before.
Oof.
Walt stepped on Orange Grove to Disneyland, which opened. There you go. Showcase is our winner. He got 2 out of the 3. Showcase. If you can DM me, well, actually, I actually already have your address, but just DM me, or just DM me your shirt size and what style OG55 shirt you want. If you want a little logo off to the left, or if you want the big OG that covers the whole shirt. So just message me with the shirt style and your size, and I will send that out. Congratulations to Mr. Showcase of Witches on winning our trivia.
Is that what we're sending out to him? I thought it was going to be a brick.
Oh, well, yeah, I know, right?
That's an inside joke there.
Yeah, and just so everyone at home is kind of privy, it's kind of an inside joke, but Showcase is not a fan of the brick walkways at Disneyland. Walt Disney World doesn't really have a lot of that, and we always give them a hard time. We got a lot of bricks out here in California. Now, I do have a couple more questions queued up. We already have a winner. Showcase is already our winner, but you know what? I'll throw a couple of these questions out there just for good measure, just for fun. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Disney Family Man 23 has a favorite line / saying. What is it? Disney Family Man 23 has a favorite line or saying. What is it?
To give you guys a little bit of a hint, it is most associated with this sound effect on this show. Buddy.
Fear to the gears. So funny. There we go. There we go. Balls to the wall. That is Mr. Family Man. Mr. Balls to the wall.
Now
So
it's
funny.
interesting. George, do you have a story to tell about Balls to the Wall recently as you were in Anaheim enjoying your day at the Disneyland Resort?
Uh-oh.
Yes, I actually do.
Uh-oh. What happened?
So, well, I was with my good friend Mindy, who some of you may or may not know. These fellas have met her this past trip and everything. Dre met her prior to that too, as well. So I digress. So we were hanging around Disneyland, and Mindy was also part of the podcast that I was on previously. And I thought it was actually kind of interesting that I ended up, we didn't actually bump into this person, but we kind of seen this person who was also part of the podcast. And I thought it was kind of interesting because I was kind of censored, so to speak, by this person.
On that podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
The podcast wouldn't allow him to say balls to the wall, right? Pretty much?
Yes. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. So after I got to talking to OG, it's like, are you okay with this? And he's like, oh yeah, you're fine. You're good. So that became my, my little, slogan sort of.
But somebody actually recognized you specifically.
Yes. So I'm gonna actually get to that point. So I actually said that because I kind of want to throw it in this person's face. So, so anyway.
Oh, okay. I see. Sorry.
No,
you're good.
You're good. No, you're good. So my first night in DCA, I was in line for Radiator Springs Racers. And it was at night. And I have to say, whoever has not been on Radiator Springs Racers at night, you're missing out. Yeah, you have to. So it was shut down for quite some time. It reopened back up. And there was a woman with her daughter behind me. And we were just talking about how long the ride was down and, what have you. It goes down a lot and it's very popular. And then we just started talking about, her daughter's going to be having her 9th birthday party. It's going to be themed to Mad Tea Party and what have you. And I'm just getting on this big conversation with her. And while I'm talking and everything, this woman is looking at me, and it's like, well, first of all, I don't get too many of those looks from women, so it's like it was something new for me. So, but no, I'm just joking, folks. So she's looking at me.
Jess is not going to like this.
Yeah,
no. you're going to be sleeping in the doghouse tonight, George.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking.
So she's looking at me as if she knows me, but she couldn't really pinpoint it. And she then says to me, "You look very familiar. I've seen you before. The way that you're talking about Disney, it's like I know I've seen you before." She said, "Are you on any kind of social media platform or what have you?" And I said, "Well, I am part of a YouTube channel called Orange Grove 55," and that's literally all I had to say. She knew it by Orange Grove 55, and her eyes lit up, and she pointed at me. She said, "Now I know you. That's right. You're balls to the wall."
Got the tag. Oh, yes. Man, she had the line.
You got the line.
Yes.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, Alia is asking, Dre, tell us about your combo with Daddy Josh.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, look, I do apologize. Okay, so I ran into him. Right? We were crossing paths, but I unfortunately wasn't able to converse with him because I was heading towards a prior engagement that I needed to attend to at that time. However, my mother and portions of my family actually did get to speak to him, and I will say he knows about the channel now. I mean, before, my mom was all too quick to say, "Hey, you seen OG55? We talk about you on there." And it's like, oh, well, that's good. You know, I will say maybe not in the most favorable terms sometimes, but look, I mean, he was receptive to my family who was there, was willing to take a picture, which was nice. And it was interesting, you know, it was good to see him on a Saturday with, I mean, it was really, I mean, even when we were looking at the reservation calendar and seeing how kind of open it was, the one date that was actually reserved completely across calendars was that Saturday, and Josh was there for that busy day and saw how the park operation went. I mean, look, I will give him all the credit in the world. I love to see that, and he was there, you know, without a name tag and stuff like that, actually looking at the park's operations and so forth. I thought that was good to see. However, there were some problems on that day. You know, we had, as many people have been pointing out recently, there's been extended downtime on some of those attractions, lack of maintenance in some areas, and so forth. And I would have loved to have given this feedback to Josh. Hopefully, I'm doing it now. If he is watching this show, you know, hey, you never know. He knows about it now.
Well, you know, we think Chapek watches because the family from Denver thing is something that we've been saying for months, and then randomly says that. I'm like, I don't know, Chapek.
It is weird how we keep suggesting things and how they keep coming true. I don't know. You know, maybe it's wishcast. I don't know what it is, but
never know. It's
something where it's, you know, I mean, you know, maybe it's consistent with Chapek's philosophy. We're gonna go ahead and listen to the consumer, and I don't know if we're a good spokesperson for that, but hey, we know we're this is our lot in life, I guess. But look, you know, I'm glad to see that you know, Josh Unfavorable Diamaro was there. Good to see. However, you know, I would have loved to have shared my thoughts on all the problems. Exactly. Hi, Daddy Josh. Yeah, exactly. Apparently, from what I heard from the females in our group, Daddy is an apt term. He was looking quite good that day. This is quite interesting. But look, I can't just have you be a pretty face. I gotta have you. You know, if you're the head of the parks division, well, look, people take kind of an ownership stake in this, right? They've invested a lot of money. They want to feel that their investment's paying off. That you know, the parks that they love so much are getting better and better, and that they can overcome. Yeah, there you go. I mean, maybe could be. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. That has very interesting implications, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, look, I think people want to see that their hard-earned money is going towards some good things, and you know, that being reinvestment in the parks, not just on new capital expenditures, but also maintenance and so forth. And I don't know, man, I haven't seen really that reflected as of late. I do feel it has a good chance of getting better. Obviously, as you said, OG, they're heading into the busy seasons, right? So, you know, maintenance, you know, that is going to be, you know, an issue that they're going to have to contend with delicately now that we're going into these busy seasons, and maybe we'll see a huge swath of investment come January, right?
Yeah.
All these things are possible, but you know, Daddy Josh, I wasn't quite impressed, even though you were there.
Well, here's the thing too with Daddy Josh. Going into the parks and kind of mingling with guests is fantastic. That's fantastic. He absolutely should be doing that. Daddy Josh, I know you're watching. Keep doing that. That's a fantastic thing. I think that really, you know, you want to have those boots on the ground and experience these attractions and these restaurants and everything firsthand. Phenomenal. That's perfect. My issue though with Daddy Josh, and this is constructive, I'm not, you know, but this is my real issue with it. If you're going to be in the park all the time, and you're going to witness maintenance problems, operation problems, and all this stuff going on, real issues with the parks, and you don't go back and fix any of it, any of that stuff, then it just becomes playtime at the parks.
I guess
if it doesn't translate into changing things and fixing things and making things better, then it's just, like I said, just having a good time at the parks and smoozing. So it needs to actually translate in order for it to mean anything. Just being in the parks is great, but if it doesn't change anything, then what's the point? At that point, you're kind of just wasting everyone's time a little bit. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion.
I perfectly stated, OG. Perfectly stated. I mean, look, we have had some issues ever since reopening that we haven't seen quite overcome. Now, I understand not all of that is in their control, so to speak. Right? There are some issues that prevent them from overcoming some problems that they are having. That being said, though, it's like, I mean, some of these things still persist, even with all these visits and so forth. And I don't know if he's there just keeping morale high or whatever. I'm not sure, but I mean, honestly, it's crunch time here. The honeymoon phase is over. I think, and a lot of people are starting to kind of turn. They're kind of pivoting away from Chapek and kind of turning their sights on Josh DeMauro himself. We saw that from, Dave from Fresh Baked, Bricky from Hey Bricky, and all those kind of people, right? They're kind of like, hey, look, listen, you're the head of this. What are we doing? And I think that's appropriate.
Yeah. And Alia says here he's probably wondering, why do they call me Daddy Josh? Should explain if he or anyone Disney on his behalf is watching. They call him Daddy Josh because they think he's sexy. They think he's hot.
Mm-hmm.
A good looking dude, and he is. He's absolutely a good looking dude. Daddy Josh, come on.
Well, and that's weird. I mean, I think Bricky from Hey Bricky, sorry, brought it up. Which, by the way, hey, I don't know if we've said this before, but we'd love to have you on. I know you were looking to reach out to us. Hey, please, OG, if you could show your email one more time.
Yeah,
just in case
if
he is
anyone
actually referring to us.
Let's go ahead, and I'm going to put it down here real quick. Bricky, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Like I said with California Dreamin' earlier on in the show, sometimes when you reply to a comment on YouTube, a lot of times those notifications don't get sent out. So I'm going to link down below is my email. Bricky, we want to have you on the show. Email me. We'll discuss days and times and topics and all that good stuff. We love your content, Bricky. We want you on. So if anyone, whether Bricky or anyone from his channel is watching, that's the email. Have him email us so we can get him on the show, because we are huge Bricky fans.
Yeah, because apparently he wanted to, and we were trying to get a hold of him, and that's been quite unsuccessful as of late. But I will say, Bricky did make a great point in his last kind of ranty video about the D23 Expo panel, right? He was saying that, hey, look, some people give Bob Chapek all the heat in the world, but they give Josh DeMauro a pass, and some of that is based on looks, and it's just like that bias. We got to stop that. I mean, it's just, this is, look, he's in the hot seat. Let's not let's not quell the fire because he happens to be hot on the seat. Let's just put it like that.
100%. Well, I want to thank everybody who joined us today on this massive milestone of 6 years of OG55. It's been a phenomenal 6 years. We made a lot of great friends along the way. This has been just amazing. I want to thank my brothers, Vash and George, for everything they do. They work tirelessly on the content, and we're constantly working on this stuff, and I appreciate them so much. They are my best friends. I love you guys. Everyone that watches, shares our video, just any way you can support, we appreciate it. It's been just a really, truly humbling experience these last 6 years. And thank you so much from the bottom of all of our hearts. But we're going to close out this live stream. I'll start off with you, Mr. VashSky, if you want to close out. And then George will follow. And then maybe after that, if you guys have any final thoughts on the anniversary and what have you, and we'll end the show. So we'll go to you, Mr. VashSky.
And now, the man with many titles, bringing you juicy news and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove, Mr. VashSky.
There he is. There he is.
That's quite the intro. That's quite the thing right there. It makes me red in the cheeks every single time, OG. See, you got me going there. But no, I mean, look,
No pressure, no pressure with that.
Well,
info.
yeah, no pressure.
pressure.
Okay. We'll dispense with the pleasantries, right? If you want to go ahead and follow me, you can go ahead and do so right down there at VashSky. Thank you so much for getting me over 1,000. It is fantastic. For those of you who may have not followed me yet, I can assure you the content that I share, produce on there is worth following. So please, all I ask is that you maybe check it out. If you want to see me, well, it's going to be on the channel you're watching right now at Orange Grove 55 at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info squeezed fresh right from the Grove. Let's see.
Thank you very much.
There you go. I think that's appropriate, right?
There we go.
Look, listen. I'll say this about the channel and its unbelievable success, and I think what I'm most thankful for, as OG put it, it's the friends we've met along the way. I mean, honestly, the community that we have here, the people that show up in this chat, whether they be regulars or lurkers or whatever, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And I must say, the gentlemen that I share the screen here, as George has said many times, they're not just they're not just friends, they're family. They really are. My brother's from a different mother, and I'm so grateful to share that familial friendship with you two, and to have a place within the community that we've all brought together. That is truly the best experience, and I thank each and every one of you for making me feel welcome and hearing what I have to say for the minutes that I talk. I really do appreciate it. It has been phenomenal. And George, gonna throw it to you, buddy, but there might be something extra with your words at the end there that we can get people excited about.
Absolutely. First off, I just have to start off that I am so completely grateful, humbled, blessed to be part of this channel, to do it with you fellas. I couldn't imagine doing it with anybody else. Kind of echoing with Mr. VashSky, just connecting with all of you as viewers, as listeners, with your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas. It really helps the channel grow, and we want that to continue. So anything, throw it right at us, and chances are it's going to end up as a future video. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds for this channel. I have really high hopes for it. As we continue to master our craft, so to speak. And again, I have to give it to these two fellas right here, because as I had said, that Mr. VashSky had said, that I'm going right back, that these two aren't just my friends. They are my brothers, their family, and we have a great camaraderie, and it's like everything just meshes well. And Mr. Theme Park Casual had graciously mentioned to me when I met up with him in California. He said, "I love your videos." He said, "I love when you and Vash do one, Vash and OG does one." But he said, when the three of you are on together, there's just that spark of magic of how you feed off of one another, and how you have your own personalities, but everything just comes together in a nice little package. And I mean, he couldn't have said it better. And I completely 1010% agree with him that the three of us together, we do damage in a good way.
Yes, 100%. I mean, hey, look, to give you an idea how close we are, Dre is not a morning person. And I call this guy at 6 a.m. to talk Disney. And he puts up with me doing that. That's a friend right there. That's a brother right there. And I appreciate that, man. I'm on my morning walk calling this guy at 6 a.m. "Oh, bro, did you see this new Chapek thing?" He's like, "What?"
yeah. And I just went to bed probably 3 hours before. But hey, look, listen, you don't miss calls from family, and
it's like this guy is a morning person, this guy is a night person, and I'm in the middle on the East Coast 3 hours. But it's like whenever we can kind of. Anytime I see my phone ring and it's one of those guys, it's like I try my best to answer to them because as Mr. VashSky says, you definitely you answer to family. And speaking of that, we have a little announcement to make as part of this 6-year anniversary of the channel celebration, for which these two fellas up here didn't know that I was cooking something up. But as do you want me to say it, OG, or do you want to take it over?
No.
I
want you to do it. Absolutely.
Okay.
I want you to do it.
So there's been a lot of talks that have hinted on this channel that I've been really wanting to get these two guys to Walt Disney World. And there, it was, and just in talks of saying, eventually we will, what have you. Well, while I was at California for my Disneyland D23 Expo trip, I decided we hung out as we always do. We had our guys' day. We had, at Disneyland, and I had a certain plan in motion, which it didn't go quite 100%. And unfortunately, I ended up having to tell these guys separately. And I called OG first with the news. And then later that day, when I met up with Dre at Oogie Boogie Bash, I then told him. So the big news is I have invited my brothers, my treat, to 10 nights at Walt Disney World.
Yes,
it's
crazy.
It's still
crazy.
It still blows my mind to this day, George. I mean, I'm just like, it's phenomenal. OG, you go and take it from here.
When he called me and told me that, I was literally speechless. I didn't even know what to say, and it was just, I was incredibly humbled. It was like just this like shock factor as well. I'm like, oh my God. And I've never been to Walt Disney World. I've never, ever been to Walt Disney World. So it's just incredible. I'm looking forward to it. I'm incredibly humbled that George is planning this trip for us and everything. And it's absolutely incredible. And George, I cannot thank you enough. Brother. Just incredibly gracious of you, sir. And, I love you, man. I really do.
Thank you so much. And as I said, no one deserves it better than both of you, because I mean, we put on a hell of a show, and we talk Disney World, and you guys talk Disneyland and you experience Disneyland, but you have to get that full immersive experience. And as I promised you both from the very beginning, I was going to be your personal tour guide. I was going to be your plaid. So, I had to make it, to be, but I do have to say though, and I told OG this on the phone, and this is very true. And I have yet to tell you this, Vash, your reaction in person, if I could have videoed you of all your emotions, if I would have sent that into Disney, I guarantee you would have been on the next promotional video.
Yeah.
Because, and I think honestly, that's something that it should be, because I love how Disney kind of captures the moments when the parents tell the children and they get all excited. Well, I think they also need to see the side of adults, that the impact that it puts on everybody, they're so big on, whether you're young or young at heart. And I think they need to put that in. But I tell you what, everyone, if I could have bottled that up and saved that, I mean, his reaction was, I think, one of the best reactions that I have ever seen come from anybody. And it was golden.
Well, it really profoundly struck me. I mean, nobody that I've ever known, 32 years old. Nobody I've ever known has ever even considered anything like that. And just humble. Humble background guy from AZ. You just never grow up expecting anything like that, and so it was a complete unbelievable shock. And we won't go into a great detail, but George has worked it out that we're actually staying on property, on Walt Disney World property, and I gotta be honest. I mean, even as much of a Disney fan as maybe I appear to be, the prospect of even staying on property was is not even a concept that I even thought was ever going to be possible. It was not just a thing that I even ever thought about, and I was okay with going through life without having ever have done that. I've never stayed on property, never even, like I said, thought about it, because it was just so unobtainable. And so even that was just, I mean, it was really mesmerizing. That anybody would even care about me to the extent, or us, OG, would care about us to the extent that they would even consider that, much less make it happen and bring it to reality. I mean, it's
humbling. It really is.
Yeah, Disney dreams, I guess, do come true.
Yeah. Well, now Showcase here says Walt Disney World Party. Yeah. Here's the thing, though, Showcase. It's going to take me a little while getting used to Walt Disney World. I mean, do you guys have fake grass? Do you guys got bricks out there? Because if you don't,
okay. Actually, Wildest Ride actually has the mic drop right here.
Yep, he does.
If you could actually put that up there.
So, step number 1: take your knowledge of Disneyland and throw it out the fucking window.
I have heard. Well, look, I'll tell you this, George. The only other time that I've ever been to Walt Disney World was back in like 2002, right when flights were kind of cheap. If you know what happened the year prior, you kind of know why that might have been. But no, it was like, hey, we're going out there, we're trying it out, and we took our Disneyland mentality and applied it to Walt Disney World. Mm-hmm. That didn't work at all. Okay, and I always thought, okay, if I as an adult ever get a chance to experience that again, it's got to be with somebody who knows Walt Disney World, who has accrued more knowledge than I could possibly ever do from maybe many years of going. And so that was also the other special thing about you, saying, hey, look, we're going to Walt Disney World together, because it was like, oh my gosh, this is these are under the circumstances which I would want this to happen. And it couldn't, I couldn't go with somebody any better than you, George, and of course you, OG. This is going to be like as we said, a trip of a lifetime.
Awesome. I can't wait. And George, you are amazing, sir. Thank you so much, dude. Like, seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As I said, I love you guys, your family, and I wanted to show, how much that you are really part of my family, and I go on tons of family Disney vacations, so it's only suiting that I take all my family.
100%. 100%.
I mean, again, we're incredibly humbled, but we're also going to be, going to Disneyland a little bit. At least you and I are, George. A little bit before that, and we definitely got to meet up with some of these guys like Casual and some of these some of these people who have been so kind to us. But I cannot, I cannot wait to get out to Walt Disney World, and maybe the prospect of meeting, like, Showcase of Wishes, Wildest. We've talked about it before, and it's like, hey, maybe this is actually going to take place. Again, it should be the trip of a lifetime. So
100%. Cannot wait. I want to thank you guys. As always, I love having you guys on and talking shop with you. You guys are my family. I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining us on the 6-year milestone. Again, thank you for all the support over the years. We're going to keep doing what we do, and we're going to be here all the time talking shop because we love doing it. We have a passion for this stuff. But, if you could hit the subscribe button, like, and, as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day.